Rain poured like it had something to prove. It blurred the streetlights, soaked the sidewalks, and pressed cold through Ethan Walker's thin jacket as he hurried out of the subway. His shift at the warehouse had ended late again. Another warning from his supervisor still rang in his ears. Be on time tomorrow, or don't bother coming back. Ethan tightened his grip on his backpack and started toward the bus stop when he saw her. A woman stood at the corner, drenched, struggling with a broken umbrella that refused to open. Cars splashed past her without slowing. She looked lost, tired, alone. Ethan hesitated. Then he turned back into the rain. Before we go any further, tell me where you're watching from right now. A city wrapped in rain, a quiet town, maybe somewhere warm and dry. Drop your city or country in the comments. It's incredible how one small story can travel so far. Ma'am, Ethan called gently. You okay? She looked up, startled. Water streamed down her face, mixing with something heavier in her eyes. I missed my ride, she said. My phone died. Ethan glanced at his watch. Every minute mattered tonight. His son Noah would be waiting at home with a neighbor. Still, he stepped closer. I've got an extra jacket, Ethan said, already shrugging it off. And my bus comes in 5. You can wait under the shelter with me? She hesitated, then nodded. Thank you. I'm Ava. Ethan. They stood together under the flickering bus shelter. Ava's hands shook as she wrapped the jacket tighter around herself. Long day? Ethan asked. She laughed softly. You could say that. The bus arrived. Ethan helped her on, paid her fare without comment, and rode 2 stops past his own to make sure she was safe. When they got off near a small clinic, Ava turned to him, eyes shining. You didn't have to do that, she said. Ethan smiled, already stepping back into the rain. Someone once did it for me. He didn't see her again that night. The next morning, Ethan ran. Rain still clung to the air, and traffic crawled. He burst into the warehouse 5 minutes late, breathless, heart pounding. His supervisor, Mark, stood near the office door, arms crossed. You're late, Mark said flatly. Ethan swallowed. I know, I'm sorry. It won't office now. The room smelled like stale coffee and paperwork. Mark closed the door and sighed. Corporate's here today. Budget cuts. They're looking for reasons. Ethan's stomach dropped. Please, he said quietly. I need this job. Mark shook his head. I warned you. A knock interrupted them. Mark frowned and opened the door. A woman stood there, dry, composed, wearing a professional coat. Her eyes moved from Mark to Ethan, then widened slightly. Ethan, she said. Ethan froze. It was Ava. If you were there in that rainy moment, the voice of the story gently asks, what would you have done? Would you have walked past or stopped like Ethan did? Be honest, share your answer below. And if this moment touched something in you, tap like to show that compassion still matters. Mark looked between them. You know her? Ava nodded. Very well. I'm Ava Reynolds, Regional Operations Director. Silence filled the room. Ava turned to Mark. I was on my way here last night when my ride canceled. Your employee helped me, gave me his jacket, made sure I got home safe. Mark's face drained of color. This morning, Ava continued, calm but firm, I was reviewing staff recommendations. I wanted to meet the kind of people who represent this company when no one's watching. She looked back at Ethan. You're one of them. Ethan could barely breathe. Mark cleared his throat. We were just discussing attendance. Ava nodded. And now we're done. She turned to Ethan. Your job is safe. In fact, I'd like you reassigned to team lead effective immediately. Ethan's knees nearly gave out. Ava smiled softly, lowering her voice. Kindness has a way of coming back. Thank you for not ignoring me in the rain. She left as quickly as she'd come. Mark stood frozen. Ethan sat down slowly. the room spinning not from fear anymore, but from relief so deep it almost hurt. And as he thought about Noah waiting at home, about the rain, about a simple choice made without expectation, Ethan realized this wasn't the end of the story, Dot. It was only the beginning. Ethan didn't tell Noah about the promotion right away, not because he wanted to hide it, because he didn't trust it yet. Good news in Ethan's world often came with strings. He learned to hold joy gently, like it could slip away if he squeezed too hard. That evening, he picked Noah up from Mrs. Patel's apartment upstairs. Noah ran to him barefoot, hair sticking up, clutching a half-finished puzzle piece like it mattered. "Dad," Noah said, wrapping his arms around Ethan's waist. "You're wet again," Ethan smiled. "It's been a rainy week." Mrs. Patel stood in the doorway, kind eyes tired from a long day. "He ate his dinner," she said, "and he did his reading, mostly." Noah protested. "I did all of it," Ethan chuckled. "Thank you," he told Mrs. Patel softly, and meant it the way a drowning man means thanks for a hand. On the walk down the hall, Noah looked up. "Did you get in trouble for being late?" Ethan paused. For a second, he considered lying, making it simpler. But Noah had grown up in honesty. It was the one luxury Ethan could always afford. "I almost did," Ethan admitted. "But something unexpected happened." Noah's eyes widened. "Like what?" Ethan opened their apartment door, the familiar smell of laundry soap and cheap instant noodles wrapping around them. "I'll tell you after you change. You're still in your school shirt." Noah dashed to his room. Ethan stood a moment in the doorway, staring at the small, space-old furniture, mismatched curtains, a quiet place held together by effort. He thought of the warehouse office, of Ava's calm voice, of the way Mark's power had disappeared in one sentence. Ethan didn't like the feeling of someone else controlling his security, even if that someone was kind. Still, he couldn't deny what it meant. A team lead role meant steady hours, better pay, fewer late shifts, more dinners with Noah. When Noah came back in pajamas, he climbed onto the couch like it was a throne. "Okay, tell me." Ethan sat beside him. "Remember the lady I helped in the rain?" Noah nodded instantly. "The one with the broken umbrella?" "Yeah," Ethan said. "She's my boss's boss." Noah blinked. "Like the boss of the big boss?" Ethan smiled. "Exactly." Noah's mouth fell open. "No way." Ethan nodded. "And today she came to my job. She said she noticed what I did and she helped me." Noah's eyes shone with something bright. "So you saved your job because you were nice?" Ethan exhaled. "Yeah, something like that." Noah leaned back, satisfied, like the universe had finally proven a point he'd been trying to make all along. "I told you," he said, "being nice works." Ethan's chest tightened. "It doesn't always," he said gently. "Sometimes being nice costs you." Noah looked serious. "But it's still better." Ethan couldn't argue with that. The next week at work, the promotion became real. Ethan was given a clipboard, a small office corner, and a new kind of pressure. Being a team lead didn't mean less work, it meant different work. People looked to him for answers now, for calm, for solutions. Mark avoided his eyes. Some coworkers congratulated Ethan with genuine smiles. Others stared like he'd somehow cheated the system. Ethan understood the resentment. He'd felt it before, watching someone else get chosen while you kept grinding. But he also knew the truth. This wasn't luck. This was character being seen for once. On Tuesday, Ava called him into a conference room. It was smaller than the warehouse office, but cleaner, brighter. She didn't sit behind a desk. She sat across from him, elbows on the table, hands folded. "I hope this hasn't felt like favoritism," she said. Ethan chose his words carefully. "It's felt confusing." Ava nodded. "That's fair." She studied him for a moment. "I didn't just promote you because you helped me. Ethan raised an eyebrow. I promoted you because I asked around, she said. Your attendance isn't perfect, but your reliability is. People said when a machine breaks, you stay late. When someone's struggling, you cover. When new hires are lost, you don't laugh. Ethan swallowed. I just do what needs doing. Ava's expression softened. Most people don't. She slid a folder toward him. There's another reason I came, she said quietly. Ethan didn't open it yet. Ava's voice lowered. My mother raised me alone. She worked 2 jobs. And there were nights she cried in the kitchen because she didn't know how to make. Brent stretched. Her eyes held his. A stranger once bought her groceries and walked away before she could even say thank you. Ethan's throat tightened. Have you ever had someone help you when no one else would? The story asks softly. If yes, write yes and tell me their name. Sometimes gratitude deserves to be spoken. Ava tapped the folder. That stranger's kindness changed my mother's life. And because of it, it changed mine. When you helped me in the rain, it felt like that moment coming back around. Ethan finally opened the folder. Inside was a scholarship application already filled out with Noah's name at the top. A private program for children of employees, tutoring, meals, summer activities. The kind of stability Ethan had never been able to buy. Ethan's hands trembled. I can't accept this. Ava didn't flinch. It's not charity, she said. It's investment. Ethan looked down. I don't want Noah to owe anyone. Ava's voice softened further. Then teach him to pass it on. That's how this stays clean. Ethan sat back, overwhelmed not by money, but by the feeling of being seen without judgment. He thought about the rain again. How close he'd been to walking past, and suddenly he understood. The hardest part of kindness isn't giving. It's letting yourself receive it without shame. Ethan didn't give Ava an answer right away. He carried the folder home in his backpack, careful not to bend it like it was something fragile. Noah noticed it instantly. What's that? He asked, kicking off his shoes. Just paperwork, Ethan said. Setting it on the table, Noah narrowed his eyes. That's adult code for important. Ethan laughed softly. You're not wrong. Dinner was simple eggs and toast butt. Ethan barely tasted it. His mind kept circling the same question. Was accepting help the same as failing on your own? He'd spent years proving he could carry everything himself. Maybe too many years. After Noah finished his homework, Ethan finally opened the folder. Again, he read every page slowly. No hidden traps. No repayment clauses. Just opportunity. Still, doubt crept in. That night, as Ethan tucked Noah into bed, Noah asked quietly, Dad, are we okay? Ethan paused. That question had followed them. Through too many apartments, too many late nights. We're okay, Ethan said. But we might be better, Noah smiled sleepily. Better sounds nice. The next morning, Ethan signed the papers. At work, the change in his role began to show. He mediated conflicts, fixed schedules, spoke up when something felt wrong. It wasn't glamorous, but it mattered. Slowly, the floor ran smoother. One afternoon, a coworker named Miguel pulled him aside. People trust you, Miguel said. That doesn't happen fast. Ethan shrugged. I just listen, Miguel nodded. That's rare. Ava visited again a week later, this time walking the warehouse floor. She watched Ethan explain a process to a new hire patient, clear, respectful. You're exactly who I hoped you'd be, she said later. Ethan frowned. That sounds like pressure, she smiled. It's not. It's gratitude, but not everyone felt grateful. Mark's resentment simmered. Snide comments. Shift changes made harder than necessary. One afternoon, he snapped. You think you're special now? Ethan met his eyes. No, I think I'm responsible. Mark scoffed. Same thing. Ethan didn't argue. He'd learned some battles were about ego, not truth. At home, Noah's world began to widen. Tutoring sessions, new books, a summer program brochure that made his eyes light up. "Dad," Noah said one evening, "this place says they have science." "Labs," Ethan smiled. "You like science now?" Noah nodded eagerly. "I want to build things that don't break." Ethan's chest tightened. "You already are." Weeks passed. Rain gave way to sun. The memory of that night faded into something warmer, less fear. More meaning. Then one afternoon, Ethan found Ava standing by his desk, expression serious. "There's something I need to tell you," she said. Ethan's stomach tightened. "Okay." She lowered her voice. "Corporate's restructuring. Some managers are pushing back. They're saying your promotion was personal." Ethan exhaled slowly. "I figured they want to review it," Ava continued. "And that scholarship?" Ethan's jaw clenched. "Is Noah? He's fine," Ava said quickly. "But this will get uncomfortable." Ethan nodded. "It already is." That night, he lay awake again, staring at the ceiling, wondering if kindness always came with a bill due later. Now, it's your turn. What's one small good thing you've done recently, even if no one noticed? Share it below. You never know whose strength came from your quiet moment. Ethan didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew this much. He wouldn't regret stopping in the rain. And if the cost of doing right was standing up again, this time without surprise on his side, then he would, because some choices don't change. Just one day. They change who you're willing to be. When the next test arrives, the review meeting was scheduled for Friday. No time, no room number, just a calendar invite that sat heavy in Ethan's inbox all week, blinking like a quiet warning. He went to work each day anyway, on time, focused, steady. If he was being measured, he would give them nothing easy to cut. At home, he kept things normal. Dinner at the same hour, homework at the same table, jokes before bed. Noah noticed the tension anyway. Children always did. "Are they mad at you?" Noah asked one night, brushing his teeth. Ethan leaned against the doorframe. "Some. People are asking questions. Did you do something wrong?" "No," Ethan said gently. "Sometimes doing the right thing makes people uncomfortable." Noah nodded like he was filing it away for later. "That happens at school too." Friday came with a gray sky. Ethan walked into the conference room and found 3 people already seated. 2 from corporate, clean suits, unreadable faces. Ava stood at the window, arms folded, looking out at the loading docks below. "Have a seat." "Ethan," one of the executives said. They started with policy, attendance records, promotion criteria. Ethan answered calmly, clearly. "No defensiveness. No stories. Just facts. Then the question he'd been expecting. "Do you acknowledge that your interaction with Miss Reynolds influenced her decision?" Ethan paused. Ava turned from the window. "I acknowledge that I helped a stranger." Ethan sighed. "I didn't know who she was." The other executive leaned forward. "But once you knew?" "I didn't ask for anything," Ethan replied. "I didn't mention it at work. I didn't bring it up at all." Silence. Ava finally spoke. "I'd like to add something." She didn't sit. She stood tall, voice calm but firm. "I didn't promote Ethan because he helped me," she said. "I promoted him because he's been doing the job of a leader long before the title existed. The rain just made it visible." The executives exchanged looks. "And the scholarship?" One asked. Ava nodded. "That was my decision as well. Based on eligibility and need." Ethan met both. One of them sighed. "Perception matters." "So does integrity," Ava replied. The room held its breath. Finally, the first executive closed his folder. "The promotion stands," he said. "So does the scholarship. But understand this eyes will be on you." Ethan nodded. "They already were." When the meeting ended, Ava walked Ethan to the elevator. The doors closed softly. "You okay?" she asked. Ethan exhaled, long and slow. "I think so." She smiled faintly. "You handled that with grace." "I learned it the hard way," Ethan said. That evening, he told Noah everything, simply, honestly. Noah listened, serious, then smiled. "So, we're still okay?" Ethan laughed, pulling him into a hug. "We're still okay." The following weeks felt lighter, not easy, but clearer. Mark kept his distance, co-workers relaxed. The floor found its rhythm again. Then came the call that shifted everything. Ethan was restocking shelves when Ava's assistant asked him to step outside. Ava stood near the loading bay, phone in hand, eyes bright. "I just got off with HR," she said. "They approved expansion for the scholarship program." Ethan blinked. "That's great." "They want you to help design it," she continued, "for families like yours." Ethan felt the weight of it land, not pressure, but meaning. "Don't have a degree," he said quietly. Ava smiled. "You have perspective." That night, Ethan sat at the kitchen table long after Noah fell asleep, sketching ideas on scrap paper. Transportation support, meals, tutoring that didn't shame. Quiet systems that held people up without labels. For the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel like something chasing him. It felt like something he could shape. If that moment, the job saved, the fear lifted, the door opening wider hit you hard, leave it. Sometimes one little symbol says what our hearts can't. On Sunday, Ethan and Noah walked to the park. The rain had washed everything clean. Noah ran ahead laughing, then stopped and turned back. "Dad," he called, "I think the rain helped us." Ethan smiled, watching his son kick a pebble down the path. "Yeah," he said softly. "I think it did." But as peace settled in, Ethan knew better than to believe the story was finished, because every act of kindness, once seen, invites a question, not from the world, but from yourself. And the next one would be the hardest yet. The invitation came in a plain envelope. No logo, no letterhead, just Ethan's name written neatly on the front, slipped under his apartment door while he and Noah were at the park. Inside was a single card: community hearing, public comment requested, subject, employee conduct and corporate ethics. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, the card resting between his hands like it weighed more than paper should. The promotion had stood. The scholarship was safe. That now, the story was being pulled into a room where voices echoed and intentions got twisted. Noah watched him carefully from across the table. "Is that a bad letter?" Ethan took a breath. "It's a hard one." The hearing room was crowded. Not. Angry, curious, reporters in the back, employees along the walls, a few community members who recognized Ethan from the warehouse, from school pickups, from buses caught in the rain. Mark sat near the front. He didn't look smug. He looked tired. Ethan hadn't spoken to him in weeks. Not since the review meeting. Not since resentment had turned quiet and sharp. When Ethan's name was called, the room hushed. He stood slowly, palms damp, heart steady in a way that surprised him. "I was asked to speak about conduct," Ethan began. "About whether kindness crosses lines. About whether helping someone becomes a problem when it benefits you later." He paused, eyes moving through the room, not searching for allies, just grounding himself in the truth. "I helped a woman in the rain because she needed help," he said. "I didn't know who she was. I didn't ask for anything. And when she helped me later, I didn't ask for that either." A murmur rippled. Ethan continued, voice calm. "If we start punishing people for being decent when no one's watching, then we're not protecting ethics. We're teaching fear." Someone in the back nodded. Then Mark stood. "I'd like to speak," he said. The room stiffened. Mark cleared his throat. "I filed the complaint." Ethan didn't react. I thought he'd cut corners, Mark continued, gesturing toward Ethan. I thought kindness was a shortcut. Because if it wasn't, then maybe I'd missed something all these years. His voice cracked, not loud, but honest. Didn't see him stay late, Mark said. Didn't see him cover shifts. Didn't see him help new hires without making them feel small. He swallowed. That's on me. The room went quiet again, this time different. Ethan felt something loosen in his chest. Not triumph. Released out the board chair thanked them both. The hearing ended without a vote. Without judgment. Outside, the air felt lighter. Mark caught up to Ethan near the steps. I was wrong, he said. I don't expect forgiveness. Ethan looked at him for a long moment. Don't be honest with yourself for a second. If someone doubted, you questioned your character and nearly cost you everything. Could you forgive them? Type forgive if you could. Or never if it would cut too deep. Ethan extended his hand. I don't need you to be right, he said quietly. I need you to do better next time. Mark shook his hand, eyes wet. I will. That night, Ethan walked home with Noah under a sky scrubbed clean by earlier rain. Streetlights reflected off damp pavement, turning puddles into mirrors. Did you win? Noah asked. Ethan smiled. I don't think that was the point. Noah thought about it. Did you forgive him? Ethan nodded. Yeah. Was that hard? Yes, Ethan said honestly. But it felt right. Noah slipped his hand into Ethan's. I'm glad you're my dad. Ethan stopped walking for a moment, the words landing softly but firmly like a promise being kept. The next morning, the warehouse felt different, not quieter, kinder. People looked up more, listened more. A few even said thank you awkwardly, like they were relearning a language they hadn't used in a while. Ava met Ethan by the loading dock. You didn't have to do that, she said. You could have stayed silent. Ethan shrugged. Silence has its place, so does clarity. She smiled. You changed the tone. Ethan watched workers move in and out, ordinary lives carrying on. I just didn't want Noah to grow up thinking kindness needs defending. That evening, Ethan helped Noah with homework, cook dinner, and read a story before bed. Normal things. Sacred things. As he turned off the light, Noah whispered, Dad, yeah? If it rains again, will you still stop? Ethan smiled in the dark. Always. Because the storm had passed, but the lesson remained. And now, with forgiveness chosen and peace reclaimed, the story was ready to move forward toward healing, toward hope, toward the quiet warmth waiting on the other side of the rain. Rain didn't return for a while. Days passed under clear skies, and the city seemed to breathe easier, as if it too had needed a pause. Ethan settled into a rhythm that felt earned. Workdays started earlier but ended on time. Evenings were longer rushed apologies whispered to a half-asleep child. They were dinners, homework. Stories read slowly, not skipped. At the warehouse, something subtle had shifted. People talked more, not louder, just more honestly. New hires asked questions without fear. Older workers stayed an extra minute to explain instead of walking away. Mark kept his distance at first, then began doing something unexpected. He listened out one afternoon. Ethan found Mark helping a young employee adjust a schedule, his tone patient, almost careful. Ethan didn't interrupt. Change didn't need applause. Ava checked in weekly, but not like a boss, like a partner. The scholarship expansion moved forward quietly. Families were notified without ceremonies. Kids showed up with backpacks that fit and lunches that didn't run out. One mother stopped Ethan near the break room, eyes full. My daughter asked why school feels different now, she said. I didn't know how to explain it. Ethan smiled. Maybe it feels safer. She nodded. Yes, that's it. At home, Noah changed too. He stopped asking if things would be okay and started asking when. When they could visit the library again. when they could try the science museum. Free day, when it might rain next. Why rain? Ethan asked one night. Noah shrugged. Because rain is when good stuff happens. Ethan laughed softly, though his chest tightened at the truth hidden in that simple sentence. One Saturday, they volunteered together at a small community cleanup near the bus stop where Ethan had first seen Ava. Noah picked up trash with exaggerated seriousness, narrating every find. Broken bottle. Paper cup. Hey, someone lost a glove. Ethan watched him carefully fold the glove and place it on the bench instead of throwing it away. For later, Noah said as the sun did lower, people gathered not because they were told to, but because something warm had formed. Someone brought coffee, another brought sandwiches. Conversations flowed easily without urgency. Ava stopped by briefly, dressed casually, no entourage. She stood beside Ethan, watching the scene. You know, she said, this never shows up on reports. Ethan nodded. It shouldn't. She smiled. I used to think impact needed numbers. Now I think it needs consistency. She turned to Noah. Your dad taught me that. Noah beamed. He stops in the rain. That evening, as they walked home, the sky blushed orange and pink. Ethan felt something settle inside him, not relief, not pride. Hope. The kind that doesn't spike and crash. The kind that stays, if you believe love still wins, even after doubt, fear, and long nights. Comment, amen. Let this space fill with hope. Someone scrolling right now might need to see it and keep going. Weeks later, the warehouse posted a notice, new mentorship program, voluntary. Ethan didn't put his name on it. He didn't need to. People signed up anyway. Mark approached him after a shift. I wanted to say, thanks, he said, awkward but sincere, for giving me a chance to fix things. Ethan nodded. Just keep choosing it. At home, Ethan found Noah asleep on the couch, a book open on his chest. On the coffee table lay a drawing, a stick figure man holding an umbrella over another figure, rain falling all around them. Above it, in careful letters, help first, ask later. Ethan swallowed. He taped the drawing to the fridge, right beside the calendar filled with ordinary plans, school days, work shifts, a dentist appointment he could finally afford. Nothing extraordinary. Everything important. As night settled, Ethan stood by the window and watched clouds gather in the distance. He didn't know if they would bring rain. He didn't need to. He knew who he would be if they did. Because kindness, once chosen freely, doesn't disappear when things get better. It becomes a way of standing in the world. And as peace filled the quiet apartment, Ethan understood that the life-changing outcome everyone talked about wasn't the promotion. It was the way a simple choice had rewritten the future, not loudly, not perfectly, but faithfully. Summer edged its way in quietly, not with fireworks or announcements, just warmer mornings, longer evenings, and windows left open without thinking. The warehouse doors stayed rolled up, letting light spill across the concrete floor. Work felt lighter, even when it wasn't. Ethan noticed it first in the small things. A forklift operator bringing coffee for a new hire. Someone staying late to finish a job they didn't have to. Laughter during lunch breaks that didn't feel forced. The mentorship program took shape on its own. People paired up naturally. No charts, no pressure. Just a shared understanding that learning worked better when no one felt small. Ethan didn't lead it. He didn't need to. He showed up. At home, Noah's world kept expanding. The scholarship program meant afternoons filled with tutoring and hands-on projects. He came home buzzing with ideas, solar cars, bridge designs, questions that stretched past bedtime. Dad, Noah asked one night, lying on the floor with papers spread around him, do you think people are good? Ethan thought carefully. I think people are capable. Noah considered that. I think rain helps them remember. Ethan smiled. Maybe it does. One afternoon, a storm rolled through without warning. Thick drops smacked the pavement, loud and sudden. The warehouse slowed, forklifts paused. People gathered near the doors to watch the rain curtain the street. Ethan felt the old tug, the instinct to look for someone standing alone. Across the road, near the bus stop, a teenager struggled with a torn backpack, papers spilling out as rain soaked everything. Without thinking, Ethan grabbed an umbrella from the break room and jogged out. Others followed. Someone held the door. Someone helped gather papers. Someone offered a ride. Ethan stood back and watched it happen. No instructions. No recognition. Just motion kindness and practice. That evening, Ava sent a message. I heard about the bus stop. Looks like it's spreading. Ethan replied with a single word. Good. At dinner, Noah listened to the story with wide eyes. So you didn't even help? Ethan laughed. I helped once. Other people remembered. Noah grinned. That's better. The community cleanup grew into a monthly thing. Not formal, just expected. People brought what they could, took what they needed. Names weren't necessary. One night, Ethan found Mark sitting alone on the loading dock steps after a shift, staring at the sky. Everything okay? Ethan asked. Mark nodded. I think so. I just didn't know it could be like this. Ethan sat beside him. Like what? Like work doesn't have to feel like a fight. Ethan said nothing. He didn't need to. Weeks passed. The scholarship. Letters went out quietly. Families cried in kitchens and then showed up to work the next day, steadier than before. Ava made sure the credit went nowhere specific. That way, she said, it belongs to everyone. Ethan liked that, on a worm. Friday, the warehouse closed early. Someone suggested a picnic by the river. No one objected. Kids ran. Food appeared. A radio played old songs no one admitted to loving. Ethan sat on the grass, Noah leaning against his shoulder, both watching the water move without urgency. Dad, Noah said softly, are we lucky? Ethan kissed the top of his head. We're cared for. Noah nodded. I like that better. As the sun dipped low, people packed up without being told. Goodbyes were easy. Promises weren't necessary. If you believe love still wins, quietly, steadily, even. After Storm's comment, amen. Let's fill this moment with hope. Someone scrolling right now might need to see it and keep going. That night, rain returned lightly gentle this time, tapping at the windows like a reminder rather than a challenge. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, reviewing schedules for next week when he noticed Noah had taped a new note beside his old drawing on the fridge. If IT rains, share. Ethan felt a warmth spread through his chest, not pride. Not relief. Continuity. The next morning, Ava visited with news. Corporate approved. Long-term funding, she said. No changes, no faces. Just stability. Ethan nodded. That's the best kind. She smiled. You know, this all started because you stopped in the rain. Ethan glanced out the window at the damp street, people moving with umbrellas and patience. It started because someone needed help. Ava studied him. You never take credit. Ethan shrugged. Credit doesn't keep people dry. As she left, Ethan returned to his work, quiet, necessary, unremarkable in a way that lasts. The story had moved past saving a job. It had become about saving a tone, a way of being, a habit that outlived the moment that created it. And as the city breathed under clearing skies, Ethan felt ready not for a finish line, but for what comes after choosing hope and deciding to keep it. The rain stopped again, the way it always did, without asking for permission. The city dried out slowly, pavement darkened back to gray. Umbrellas disappeared from doorways. Life resumed its forward motion, but something subtle remained underneath it all, like a current you could feel if you stood still long enough. Ethan felt it at work. People no longer waited for instructions before doing the right thing. A spill was cleaned without blame. A late arrival was covered without comments. New hires were welcomed, not tested. The warehouse didn't feel softer, it felt stronger. Because fear had loosened its grip. One afternoon, Ethan noticed a familiar figure near the entrance. Ava stood there quietly, watching the floor in motion. No clipboard, no phone. Just observing. "They don't need us hovering," Ethan said as he joined her. Ava smiled. "That's how you know it's working." She hesitated, then added, "I'm stepping back soon. New role, different city." Ethan nodded. "Congratulations." "I wanted to tell you in person," she said. "And to say this. What you did that night in the rain didn't just save your job. It changed how I lead." Ethan shook his head gently. "You chose to listen." Ava looked out over the floor one last time. "Promise me you'll keep doing what you're doing." "I will," Ethan said. "Even if no one's watching." That evening, Noah came home excited, shoes muddy, backpack half-zipped. "Dad, we had to write about someone who helped us," he said, breathless. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Oh yeah, I read about you," Noah said simply. "But not the job thing," Ethan smiled. "What did you write?" "That you stop," Noah said, "when other people don't." Ethan felt his throat tighten. That's a good thing to notice. Later, as Ethan read the paper's simple words, uneven spelling, pure truth, he understood the full shape of what had happened. Not a miracle, not a reward, a pattern. Kindness practiced until it became normal. The next weekend, the bus stop. Cleanup turned into a shelter project. Someone brought spare tarps, another brought coffee. The teenager with the torn backpack showed up again, this time helping someone else. Ethan watched from a distance, hands in his pockets, heart steady. He didn't step in. He didn't need to, because the work had learned how to walk on its own. If you believe love still wins, even quietly, even without critic comment, amen. Let this space fill with hope. Someone scrolling right now might need to see it and keep going. That night, Ethan and Noah sat on the couch, listening to the sound of rain, far away distant thunder, no urgency. "Dad," Noah said, leaning into him, "do you think the rain knows?" Ethan smiled. "Knows what?" "That it helps people remember each other." Ethan wrapped an arm around his son. "I think it reminds us." As the city settled into sleep, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Not relief, not pride, completion. The job was no longer just a job. The help was no longer just help. It had become a way of living that didn't end when things got better. And with that understanding warming the quiet apartment, Ethan knew the story was ready for its final step, not toward applause, not toward recognition, but toward the simple truth that would carry it home. The city woke. Gently the next morning. No sirens, no storms. Just light slipping through windows and the quiet shuffle of people starting ordinary days. Ethan stood at the kitchen sink, rinsing Noah's lunch container, watching steam rise from a mug he hadn't yet touched. On the fridge, the drawings remained. The umbrella, the words. Help first, ask later. They weren't reminders anymore. They were history. Ethan walked Noah to school like he always did. Same crosswalk, same cracked sidewalk, same pause before the bell. Rang. "Dad," Noah said, adjusting his backpack. "If it rains today, I'll share my umbrella." Ethan smiled. "Even if it doesn't?" Noah nodded. "Just in case." Ethan watched him run toward the doors, disappear into the noise and color of childhood. For a moment, he stood still, letting the feeling settle, not fear, not worry, gratitude. At work, the warehouse hummed with its usual rhythm. Schedules pinned, forklifts moving, conversations overlapping in familiar ways. Ethan passed the bus stop on his way inside and noticed the bench was dry, A spare umbrella hooked neatly to the side. No sign explaining it. No name attached. Just something left behind because someone might need it. Ethan didn't stop. He didn't have to. The work was already done. Later that afternoon, Ava sent one final message before her move. "I won't forget what you taught me." Ethan replied, "Just pass it on." As the sun dipped low, he left work on time, something that still felt new, and walked home under a sky brushed gold and blue. No rain, just open air and the sound of the city breathing. At home, Noah showed him a sticker he'd earned at school. "Kindness counts," it read. Ethan laughed softly. They finally figured it out. That night, after Noah fell asleep, Ethan sat alone for a moment, lights low, the world quiet enough to hear his own thoughts. He thought about the rain, about stopping when it would have been easier not to, about how close he'd come to losing everything, and how none of what mattered had ever depended on a title. The job had been saved, but more than that, something fragile and powerful had been protected. A child's sense of safety, a workplace's sense of dignity, a city's small reminder that goodness doesn't need permission. If this story moved, you don't scroll past quietly. Tap like not for me, but for the single parents who keep showing up tired and kind anyway. For the people who stop when it rains, even when no one's watching. One click can be your way of saying, "I felt this. I see you." Ethan turned off the lamp and looked once more at the fridge. He hadn't planned to change anyone's life. That night, he had just chosen not to walk past. And sometimes that's all it takes. Because kindness doesn't need perfect timing. It doesn't need an audience. It only needs one person willing to stop and another willing to remember. And somewhere tonight, rain is falling again. And someone is choosing who they'll be when it does.